emotions and psychology and how that relates to letting go of weight. You notice I didn't say losing weight. So what I did is I broke this down into 3 simple little bullet points. So if anybody out there is listening and they want to take notes, I'm going to list exactly what those bullet points are, and then I'll go back and kind of cover the information. And I know you and I talked about getting together in the future because, you know, in relation to emotions, it doesn't matter what the topic is, but since we're talking about letting go of weight, there's so many angles and ways of identifying emotions and how they get in our way, how they sabotage us. So I think it's a great idea that we can kind of go through and get together again and just break it down into little chunks so that people can digest it, they can absorb it, and then they can take action on it. So number 1 is vocabulary in the words we use. Number 2 is how we see ourselves. And I'm going to demonstrate a mirror test is what I do with a lot of my clients. That's a really neat exercise. And number 3 is a circle of influence and our environment. And those are all very critical. So let's go back to number 1, vocabulary and words. Words are energy. Words have an energetic frequency. If anybody, some may have already heard of the doctor, they call him the water doctor, Dr. Emoto, E-M-O-T-O. You can check him out later after this. You can Google him. He did some amazing studies on the power of words and proving that actual words have energy and how they affect water. And he did another neat study on the rice. So you could just Google Dr. Emoto on the rice study. And he was in an older documentary called What the Bleep Do We Know? And that's a really fascinating documentary. So you can go, after this, you can go check that out, and that will really, I think it'll really sink in with everybody. So let's look at vocabulary and words. If you think about the average person that's trying to let go of weight, you'll hear them say like, I am. Now remember, I am, anything after I am is a command to the subconscious mind. And what happens is that becomes your identity. So be very cautious of what you say after I am. You'll hear people say, well, I am fat, I am ugly, I am this, I am that. And what they're doing is they're literally brainwashing. You can literally brainwash yourself, and you're giving an embedded command. You're just telling your subconscious over and over, you're fat or you're ugly or, well, you know, whatever the case is. So get away from that. Don't do that. Yeah, it becomes a command and identity. Another thing that you want to be careful of is when you're looking at, you know, your body and you're describing your body, or think about what kind of conversations we have with ourselves. There's so much power in words. If you just sit back and listen to somebody talking, you can start to see how many times they'll say a negative thing about themselves or about weight. So be very cautious. And what I recommend is get an accountability partner, maybe like a spouse, a child, maybe a workout buddy, and call each other out. You know, when somebody says something negative, call them out on it and make each other accountable. Or you can make it a little game with your children, you know, and give them a little treat or something if they can catch you saying something negative about yourself. But you'll be amazed when you start to be aware of this, how many times we all can say negative things about ourselves. So that's one big lesson there. Now, going to number 2, how we see ourselves. This is really important too. What I do with a lot of my clients, especially when they're dealing with weight, is now I don't have a full-length mirror here in my office, but what I'll have them do is I'll ask them, do you have a full-length mirror in your house? Most people do, yes. So I have them imagine themselves standing in front of that full-length mirror, but one thing is they're going to be alone, just them in the mirror, and they're totally buck naked. And what that does is it really gets them to see themselves, and I have them just really look at themselves, and then they tell me how they feel. And of course, there's all kinds of emotions coming up, and wow, I feel sick to my stomach, and I feel this, I feel that. This is an excellent way to determine what kinds of emotion, what kind of negative emotional connections you have to your weight or to your body or to your body image. If you have a full-length mirror at the house, that would be best, is to literally stand in front of the mirror naked, lock the door so the kids don't come in, but you don't want to scare your kids. But stand in front of the mirror and literally go from head to toe and just look at your body and then just notice how you feel. I guarantee you will get some type of physical sensation. You're probably going to start hearing all types of voices, and you're probably going to start putting yourself down. And this is an excellent way to have self-awareness. Now, what you can do with this, and I know in previous talks, we've mentioned like tapping and EFT is a good way to, blast through those negative emotional connections. After this call, I would recommend everybody, if they haven't already, I know people at your retreat, I passed out a little diagram of the little tapping points. What you can do is just Google EFT or tapping points, and just do like Google image, and you'll pull up a bunch of images that will demonstrate those tapping points. But what I would recommend is stand in front of the mirror and just naked. You gotta follow through with this. Don't pretend. You got to literally stand there naked, and you will feel uncomfortable. And then just look at your body and then notice how you feel. And then you just go through your feelings, talk about how you feel, you're tapping, and even if you want to be hard on yourself, I'm fat, I feel like a pig, let's be honest, we all can say some pretty mean things to ourselves, and just go through and help your body clear and blast through all that negativity and all those negative neural connections. This one exercise can do wonders for people. And if you do it over and over again, pretty soon it's like, you know what? I can stand in front of myself. I can look at myself in the mirror totally naked, and I'm okay. Yes, I do need to make progress. I am on a journey, but I'm okay. And so that would be one really good thing to do for your, how you view yourself and your self-image. And number 3, this is another very important one. Circle of influence and environment. This can impact us in so many ways. One main way is our friends and family. We all know people that are not the most positive people, even though they may mean well. So we need to be careful of who we hang out with. If you look around, and what's the saying, you generally become the average, or you generally become the average of your 5 closest friends. Mm-hmm. So if you're only hanging around with people that are unhealthy and they put themselves down and they may make negative comments to you about your weight or your health, it's a good idea to maybe look at that and maybe adopt some new, more positive people. Get around people that are more positive, that are going to be more nurturing, they're going to be more supportive. And that can even mean with family members. And, depending on the situation, you can have a conversation with them and say, hey, look, I really am trying to become healthier. I want to, release some weight. And a lot of times, they'll be more supportive when you just communicate that. Another way, influence, it can even mean what we take in, what we listen to. TV shows, if we're watching TV shows which show people as victims, and the overweight person is the victim, or you want to get away from that. Start filtering what you're putting in your brain and what you surround yourself with. Another thing that I see a lot is like even on social media, a lot of times people will make comments about themselves, and they'll kind of do it in a joking way, but really, you could tell that they're very uncomfortable about their weight, and it's almost like they're trying to beat somebody to the punch of giving them a what am I looking for? To put them down. So you want to be careful, what you're putting on social media, and how you're talking about yourself. One other thing that I wanted to, let me see here. I'm just going to my notes here. Circle of influence. Another thing is, what you read, obviously what you hear, what you read, what you watch. And also family members can play a big part in that. I know we're on time, but I just want to check in real quick. Does anybody have any quick questions? Because I know we got like 3 or 4 minutes. Are we able to see that, or?
I am able to see that. Nobody has asked any questions yet. It's just a lot of thumbs up. I think people, it's really resonating with people. Everything you said is so true. Who you surround yourself with, you are who you hang out with. That's all there is to it.
Absolutely. I'm just looking, because I was in a rush today, so I had a bunch of really good stuff for you. So, that's really it. You just have to remember that whatever you think and feel, you're putting that out there, and you're also affecting the people around you. So it's real important to really do some self-analysis and really dig and spend some time, you know, shut off the phone, get away from social media, and just spend a little time, go through these exercises, you know, just go through these 3 points and really ask yourself, how do I talk about myself? What kind of words do I use? How do I feel about myself? Can I stand in front of a mirror naked? You know, how does that make me feel? Really get inside and really get to know yourself and what's going on in the background. That can be very powerful. And then again, you know, the circle of influence. How am I influencing myself? What are people saying to me?
I have 2 questions. One, somebody has asked, what is your view in past emotional issues preventing weight loss? And another one is, how can emotions be tied to food?
Oh, huge. Yeah, with food, emotions and food, it's so many ways. I've had people where they were addicted to different things, or they just unconsciously find themselves just eating a whole bowl of ice cream or chips or whatever it is. And what they were really doing is they were trying to connect with something, or let's say they were unhappy, and that was a way to distract themselves, or their father or their mother always gave them ice cream, and that was, as a child, that was a way that they were shown love. And that's that child. It's more of that child inside of you is seeking love or connection with the parent or somebody else, and so you're seeking that food. So that food is very powerful, but that's one way that food can affect you. Past emotional things with weight, I know we'll definitely be touching that deeper, you know, on another one of these live events. But yeah, real quickly, let's say if somebody is trying to drop some weight, well, the brain always asks 2 questions. What does this mean and what do I do? And then it goes back into the file cabinet to retrieve a file about that. So if somebody's trying to drop some weight and it's like, well, okay, I'm 60 pounds overweight, when the brain will go back to when you were at your ideal weight and say, well, wait a minute, no, I'm not going to let you drop any weight because that was a very bad time. You know, maybe you lost a child, or maybe you went through a divorce. So abort, it won't let it happen. So yeah, that's one way that weight and you know, our trapped emotions and emotional issues can affect the weight and block us. Basically, yeah, it's like sabotage. It'll block us.
That's a perfect explanation. And next time somebody's asking, can food be an allergen when related to emotional things? And I know that it can be.
All the time. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, just like that when in your retreat and different times I talk about that same guy that was allergic to strawberries, grass, exhaust fumes, and sun because, you know, he saw his best friend get hit by a car and die right in front of him while he was sitting on the grass in the sun, eating a bowl of strawberries, you know, being exposed to exhaust fumes. So absolutely. Most allergies I see, if it's not toxicity like a toxic liver, then it's emotional. It's negative emotions.
Well, it's so powerful. I'm so grateful you're able to share that with my audience with this information. It's literally life-changing, because when we can get to the root of these emotional blocks, we can release so much baggage. And so we definitely want to delve deeper into this. I will get together with you and see what works with your schedule. I so appreciate your time, Tim. And
absolutely,
again, priceless words of wisdom. We really appreciate it.